Recording right now. Yeah. Okay, so we got the screen recorder going, we've got the software going. Ward is not showing up for voice. Neither is John.
I'm here. Could you hear me this time, Jason?
Hello, I hear you. Of course, we don't need video. I think we should use video just for introduction because afterwards it's going to kind of be heavy on the bandwidth, I think, and it would be a better idea to turn video off for the ability to share the screen and whatnot. Anyway, hello to whoever doesn't know me. My name is Jason. We've talked on Facebook, but we don't really know each other all that well. A couple of us met 2 weeks ago for the practice encounter. How you guys doing? Introduce yourself. Why don't we go down the list? We'll start with Giovanni, because we'll just go down the list. That'll make it easier.
Hi, everyone. This is Giovanni from the Philippines. I don't really have any background in Hebrew, so this is the first time to go with Jason for learning biblical Hebrew. Yeah, pretty much it.
Hi, this is Ward Brady. I'm from Arizona and Washington State at various times. And I know the alphabet and learning the vowels, but other than that, I don't know much in Hebrew. Looking forward to learning.
I'm John Blogs, not far from Washington State, just over the Strait of Juan de Fuca in BC. I've done a Hebrew course previously, but definitely need a lot more practice, so that's why I'm here.
Hey, I'm Scotty Lawson. Congratulations, Jason, on your promotion. I saw you got a promotion recently.
Yeah.
Done a little bit of Hebrew with Jason in the past, and just trying to chip away at it and see if I can stick with it this time and make some improvements.
You are now unmuted.
Excellent. Nice to see you all, and welcome back. I'm going to test my pen here just to see that it's working. Well, it's showing up, but it's not writing. That's not good. So I'll probably have to do a lot of writing with the trusty mouse. My pen isn't functioning. Okay, so today what do we want to go over? We just finished up chapter 1. Finished reading chapter 1, right? In LBH. I call this LBH, Learning Biblical Hebrew. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Everybody's got the book. Everybody's read chapter 1. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. So the workbook in chapter 1 was just, I think, writing the alphabet in the print fashion. That is how it's printed in books. All right. Was there any problem with that? Any questions? Anybody have trouble with writing?
I think when I try to print the letter mem, that's awkward for me.
Okay.
I just don't seem to get it.
Let's see what this page.
I do it, but
I'm going to try to pull up a whiteboard here. Yeah, okay. The way you write mem is to go up like this, down, over, and then put a line at the top. It's kind of messy because I'm writing with my mouse, but that's basically. You could also write it by making a vav down, coming back over the line and around like this.
okay, that's the second one is what I've been doing. That's okay then.
All right. Either one is the original form of the letter was to first make the letter vav, and then to complete it around the side. But most people today write it like a triangle thing and the other mark.
Okay.
Either one is acceptable. The cursive is like this. Don't ask me why, but that's cursive. Okay, any other letters you got trouble with? Should we go over the letters starting in the beginning and go to the end? Let's see. If we could kill the webcam sharing and just make the projector thing, the PowerPoint thing, full screen. Okay. Is everybody with me on this slide? It says in this chapter we cover the consonants.
Yes.
Okay, so we're covering consonants of the Hebrew language. The first deals with redundancy. This is something I put together. Every letter in the Hebrew alphabet is a consonant. There are no vowels in the alphabet. Why did I call this redundancy? I don't know. So every letter is a consonant. Even though some of the letters we're going to see are used to represent vowels, they are consonants. Okay? 3 letters, Hey, Vav, and Yod, are quite frequently used to represent vowel sounds. Okay? Does that make sense so far?
Yep.
All right.
Yes.
So in Hebrew, you basically read what you see. It works like Spanish. In Spanish, if you have a letter, you pronounce the letter. That's what you do in Hebrew as well. This is very different from how we think in English. Like if we look at the ending of this word, though, it looks like it should sound like thought, but it doesn't. And it looks like it should sound like tough, but it doesn't. And it looks like it should sound like through, but it doesn't. So we read things not how they look, but just what we memorize them to be in English. So this word can be read, or it can be read. And then there's the distinction of the vowels, like rid, rad, rod, ride, raid. Like each thing has a different vowel quality. You would think that this and this would be similar because it's the same vowel, but it represents a different sound completely. In Hebrew, basically, like I said, you read what you see. We don't really need to look at the varying vowels here in that combination, but whatever. So we have 2 types of text in Hebrew. It's pointed or unpointed. Pointed is what we call text that has vowels written. And so obviously unpointed is text that doesn't have vowels. Okay? Just for a point of reference, in Hebrew we call this one minukad, and this one lo minukad, like lelo nikud, without points. So we have this word vayikach. What's that?
Oh, I just repeating it after you. Nikud and lo nikud.
Nikud is the word for pointing. If a word is pointed, it's called menukad. Menukad has nikud, and lo menukad, unpointed, has no nikud. So the word vayikach, this means he took. It's written this way, vayikach, and it's pointed this way, vayikach. So just so you notice that these are the letters we're learning in this lesson. And we're going to learn them with vowel points later on, next chapter. Okay? All right, next. See what we got. All right, these are all the letters of the Hebrew alphabet. So we've got Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Chet. Okay, so that sound is foreign to English language. Chet. So it's in the throat. Cha, Chet. Tet, Yod, Kaf. The letter Kaf also sounds like Chet. This is Chaf. Chaf. This is what I should have pointed out about redundancy, that, for example, the letter Bet, if it has a dot in it, dagesh, it's called Bet. If it has no dot, it's vet, v, and then it sounds like vav. So it's redundant sounds because they sound the same. V. Also, cha and cha, they sound the same. So it's a redundant sound to English, to our ears. This is l, lamed, mem, nun, samech. Okay. Another redundancy is that ayin is generally pronounced as a silent consonant, and so is aleph. Aleph and ayin, kind of a redundancy. Pe, when it has dot, is p, pe. Without dot, it's f, fe. Sadi, kuf, resh, shin and sin have the same shape, and taf. Okay, does anybody have trouble with the letters? You could type in the public chat, or you can, I think you're able to raise your hand. Maybe not. Yeah, if you type on your name, click on your name, and choose set status, at any point you can click to raise your hand, and I'll see that. It will jump up at me, and that'll tell me to stop, that you need clarification, okay? So let's go back to happy. All right, so we're done with this. I think we're done with this slide. We'll go to the next one. All right, these are Beged Kefet letters. You should have read about this. They call them in the book Begad Kefat. Begad Kefat. This is also how I learned it when I was in school, but in Israel they call them Beged Kefet. These are letters that, depending on if they have dagesh, that's the little dot inside, they will have two different sounds. So bet with dagesh is b, and without dagesh is v. Kaf with dagesh is ka, without dagesh is cha. We write it like with an underline to distinguish it from chet, which is written with like H with a dot underneath. This is chet. Whenever we're transcribing in English, this is chet, and the kaf, soft kaf, is chaf. Clear?
Yes.
Don't see any hand raisings yet. Okay, so this is pa, pe, fa. Normally in transcription, this is written as P with a line over it. So P with a line over it is the same as F. Okay. Ga and ga. This used to have a double sound, and now it doesn't. It used to be ga and ra, but ra was dropped, and instead we use the ra sound for resh, the letter R. Well, but resh used to be resh with a trill, and now it's resh in the throat. Dalet used to be da and the, but that sound no longer exists in Hebrew, the. And taf used to be ta and th, but again, this one does not soften anymore, and now it's ta all the time. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
Jason,
well, yes.
if we can go back to the Dalet, you said when there's a dagash, it's what we would call a D, hard D.
Yeah.
And without the dagash, it used to be DH, but that's no longer used. When you said no longer used, are you referring to modern Hebrew or
we generally use modern Hebrew pronunciation also to pronounce the Bible, like to read the Bible. So that it makes it easier to like have a universal way of pronouncing the words.
Okay.
The only community that continues to have a distinction in the sound is the Yemenite community, as far as I know. And Yemenites who have emigrated to Israel, which is basically all of them, now all Yemenite Jews, as far as I know, live in Israel. They have all adopted the modern pronunciation. So no, even if you run into a Yemenite in the street, they're not going to distinguish between like dalet and dalet. They're not going to have that distinction.
Okay.
So, I mean, if somebody chooses to do it, it's out of like recognition of historical value of pronunciation, but it's not something that's ever used in academia or in even on the streets. So, in my book, that makes it like not useful. It's not useful to learn that way of pronouncing things. Okay, next. So this is academic transcription. So up at the top it says Beged Kefet letter transcription. Transcription is basically how you represent letters in Hebrew letters in Latin form. So we see that Kaf is written as a K, and it's written as a K when it's soft, but the soft form is underlined. That will tell us that it's the same letter, it's just a different form of the letter. The same with Bet, that is the letter B, but when it's soft, it's the underlined form, it's V. So this is Ka, and this is Cha. This is Pa and F. Transcription allows us to represent that it's the same form, it's the same letter, and it just has a different pronunciation. It also lets us represent short vowels and long vowels and whatever. Normally, long is with makron, short is with nothing, and reduced is with chevron. Okay, it's not so important. This book isn't really going to deal with transcription until the very end, so it's not an important thing to learn right now. But just so you know, it exists. Okay, these are the vowels, which we don't really need right now because we're going to cover them in the next unit. The point is that Aleph and Ayin, okay, are not, they don't have their own sounds. They sound like the vowel that's on them. So this is Aleph, and it has kamatz, it's A. This is Aleph with patach, it's A. Aleph with tzere, E. With segol, E. It doesn't matter, it doesn't have a sound of its own. This is familiar to you, yes?
Yeah.
Anybody have a question about that? Giovanni, you have your hand up?
Oh, I was just about to ask regarding the dash on each letter when it comes to transcription. Is there like a system when, because I've noticed, or if you go back to the previous slide, it's underneath the letter when you, and then some of it are on top of the letter. So
it's just like because, yeah, it's just because if you think of a writing line, G and P will go below the line like this. So rather than putting a line underneath them, they put it over them.
Oh, okay.
Just G and P.
Right.
Because they're descenders. So if you wanted to underline it in your transcription, everybody would understand what you're doing. So it's okay. We're not going to go into vowel lengths right now. We'll deal with that in the next chapter. But just so you know that Ayin and Aleph are like that. So next. Okay, I'm using transcription here and all of it. Zayin. Did you have another question, Giovanni?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
So Zayin is Z or Z. Tet. Lamed. Mem. Okay. Nun. Samech. Kuf. Resh. Resh is in the throat. R. It's a bit different than, sometimes when you hear a Hebrew speaker on television or something, you're going to hear a lot of R. It sounds like he's swimming in his words. Like it sounds like there's water coming up and he's swimming. They're exaggerating, but it is used in the throat. R. Okay? Good.
Does Resh sometimes have an L sound?
if you're Chinese. You know, the Chinese confuse between L and R in all languages. So
I was told that resh at the end of a word sometimes has an L sound.
no, it's sometimes you don't hear it as a foreigner. You don't hear it. Like the word shachor. Shachor means black, but you might hear it when people speak shachor. Like you don't hear the resh. Or if somebody's really emphasizing it, they're going to say shachor on the end. Shachor. But it doesn't sound like an L, because L is very pronounced. So, like, he fell is nafal, and you really hear the L. It doesn't disappear like in English.
Okay.
Cool? All right.
That's a word.
That's a word in Hebrew too, cool. It's kuf, vav, lamed. Cool. That's it's cool. The other way to say it, you could say sababa. All right, here we go. These are sibilants. Sibilants are sounds that deal with like an S. So the basic form of the S is with samech. S. Sin sounds exactly like samech. They sound exactly the same. Samech is used a lot in foreign words, transcription, but sin is not used in foreign words generally. Okay? In transcription, sin will have a single mark like this, and shin will have a caret like that. And then sadi will have a dot underneath the S. This is a TS sound. S. It sounds weird because we're used to like the word hit. But when you say he or she, you say hits. But we don't have this at the beginning of a word in English. In Hebrew, you do. So if you say like seruf, sadi, that's a bad sadi. Sadi, yud, resh, vav, pe sofit, seruf. This means like a combination of things. But it starts with the ts, ts. Okay? That's a sound that we don't really have in English, but also we've got several others we've already encountered, chet and chaf and whatever. Is this useful to you guys? Are you with me on this, or do you think that this is like drilling things too much?
Nope, I like it.
I think it's interesting to see.
Okay,
Me
good.
too, for a beginner.
I was worried that maybe I'm going over things you already know and I should like move on. Okay, so this is a non-academic transcription, and this is academic transcription. Okay, so dalet with dagesh is D, and without dagesh is D underlined. So the T, this is the sound. Tet has a dot underneath it. Tav has no dot. And tav without dagesh has a line under it. This is where we can distinguish things. Like if I write something in Hebrew and I say, if I write it in English letters and I say Moshe, like Moses the prophet, Moshe. If I write it like this, you don't know what it looks like in Hebrew. But if I write it like this, M-O, it's a long O. There's one sibilant letter that is shin, and then there is segol and hey. Now you know everything that is here. You know mem represents mem. The long O is the dot above mem. Shin is the letter shin. It's not sin, it's not samech or anything else. Segol is this vowel here, 1, 2, 3. And H, the hey at the end, you know, this is exactly how the name Moshe is spelled, if I transliterate it this way. You know what I mean? Does it show the purpose of transcription? The purpose, so academically you can represent every mark and every vowel and every dagesh in English letters. And that way you can convert from Hebrew to English and English to Hebrew. And it allows you to look at things theoretically. That's why we use transcription. Okay. These are final forms. The letter kaf becomes a different shape at the end of a word. Kaf. Okay, it can be hard or soft, just like the regular kaf. Okay, so this is hard, and this is hard. This is soft, soft, soft. And is that confusing?
No.
Okay, so an example of this one will be in the word, bet. Oops, wow, I can't point things. Vayevk. Okay, so this is Vav, Yud, Bet, Kaf, and the word is Vayevk. Vayevk, this has a hard C on the end, a hard K. This word means he cried. It's from the story of Joseph, where his brothers sold him into slavery, and then they came and he recognized them, and when he revealed himself, it says that he like hugged his brother or something, and it says, and he cried. Vayevk. That's that word. We're going to come across it in our reading. It's a good word. So mem at the end of a word becomes mem. Nun at the end of a word becomes nun. Sometimes you will find nun, a final nun with a kamat on it. This is na. Na. Okay, we'll see that in certain verb forms. Pe. This is the end in the end of a word. In modern Hebrew, when you want like a soft P at the end of a word, it's F, like this. And if you want a hard P, like in the word ketchup, it ends in one like this. That's kind of funny, but that's the way they do it. This is tzadi and tzadi at the end of a word. These are called final forms. Moving on. Next. Okay, this is exactly this is just looking at similar shapes. You just got to be careful that they look the same, but this obviously has a corner on the edge. This one has a corner. This one drops down. Okay, these ones have similar shapes. Okay, Shin and Sin of course look the same. Vav, Zayin, and Nun Sofit have similar shapes. Okay, Mem Sofit, and Samech have similar shapes. Gimel, Nun. Is someone trying to ask something? Sorry? Nope. Okay. Hey, Chet, and Tav. They look similar as well. Okay. All right. How's the audio? Is everything okay? I'm not getting a lot of feedback because I'm talking too much.
No,
I'm hearing it fine.
Clearly.
I think everybody said it's okay. Okay.
We all talked at once.
Yeah.
I'm in here.
So
I'm
these.
in here. I had to mute.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Mute is great. These are how vowels fall on with the vowel letters. The letter hey, if it comes before it kamat, like this, it's ah. This represents the ah sound at the end of a word. This is eh at the end of a word. It could also be o or any other vowel with it, but this is the most common, eh and ah. The vav represents o or u. The yod represents E or A. We'll get to the vowels on the next lesson. This isn't important. It's just to tell you that this doesn't represent an H. It represents a vowel, ah. This doesn't represent a W or a V. It represents O and U. And this yod here is not yod. It's a vowel. Okay. But notice that there is one exception, that when the hey has a dot inside of it, we're going to learn that this really is a consonant. So this is ah with a h on the end. Ah. Ah. And that's a breathy H at the end of a word. A good example is the word high or tall. It's ga, vo, ah. This is gavoa. This means high or tall. Gavoa. And this H here is a consonant. It's not a vowel. But we'll get into that later. It doesn't matter so much right now. Nothing that we deal with vowels. Yes, John.
I tried raising my hand, but these little dotted circles, I ran into them somewhere a while ago and was about a bit mystified about what they're intended to represent.
It's any consonant. So like if we have mem and a hey, and there's ah here, then it's ma. Yeah. But this just saves us from writing a consonant there, which would be confusing. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Next. So this is chet. It's transcribed with an H with a dot underneath it. Remember the word Muhammad. People like to write Muhammad, M-U-H-A-M-M-E-D or whatever, and they write a dot under the H because that's Muhammad. That's what we're doing here with this chet. Kaf, when it's soft, is chaf. Chaf. Okay, chet, chaf. This letter ayin, I wrote it under foreign sounds because it sounds, if you pronounce it correctly, it sounds weird. It's not ayin, it's rain, rain. It's in the throat, ayin. Something that Americans can't really pronounce very well, and so we just say it's silent. We use it like aleph. But you need to know that it isn't aleph. Aleph is a glottal stop. It's a stop in the throat. Like the British, when they say water, many of them will say water, like it's all the stop that's between the vowels. So if you have like A and E, but you don't want to pronounce them together, you want to break them, it's a-e, a-e. The aleph is that break that exists between the vowels. Okay, it's called a glottal stop. It breaks the air as it travels through the mouth. Ayin is not a glottal stop, it's a pharyngeal fricative. I think that's what they call it. It makes a noise in the throat, but most of the time it will just come off coloring the vowel as ah. So if it's ayin with an e sound, it will sound like ae, ae. It just colors the vowel like it's adding an ah onto the beginning of it. That's the easiest way to explain how it sounds.
So it colors the vowel, sounds like you're adding an A onto the beginning of the vowel?
Essentially, let's look at the word. This is the word, what we say ezer. Ezer, this is ezer means help. Ezer. If you were pronouncing it more correctly with the ayin, it would be like aezer, aezer. It's like having a little colored A at the beginning of it that closes off the throat. That little A sound, the ah sound, closes off the throat.
Say this word again.
Aizil. Aizil. If you're pronouncing the ayin, it sounds really foreign, but they pronounce it all the time in Arabic. In Hebrew, in modern Hebrew, we really don't. We just say ezil.
See, I kind of hear that L sound on the R when you're pronouncing it there.
To me, it doesn't sound like an L, because the L is with the tongue, and the R, the resh, is with the throat. But maybe it sounds like that to Americans, I don't know. Like, you get used to sounds in different languages that you learn, and then you're used to it, so. I don't know.
So this way you can, if we would practice putting that little sound in with the ayin, that would help us distinguish that from, say, aleph at the end of a word, though, right?
Yeah. An example would be like reva. Re. Oops, that's not it. I'm not used to writing with a mouse. This is problematic for me. B. I. Okay, so this word is resh, bet, ayin. Okay, with vowels e, a. So it's re, va. This ah on the end, you don't really hear it when people speak. If it were Arabic, we would hear it, but in Hebrew it's dropped. So it's reva. Reva. Reva means a quarter, 1/4. Reva. Yeah, I mean, if you learn to pronounce it at the end of a word, it could be useful, because sometimes you have words that end in ein that there's this word called etzem. Etzem. Etzem means bone. But there's something with the word etzem that when you add an ending onto it, and it's like with me, it's me, you say atzmi. Atzmi means myself. I don't know why that is, but it means myself. Atzmi. So when you have atzmi, myself, and you want to make it independent, like you do things yourself. Independent is atzmai. 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 This is independent. So atzmaut would have atzmaut. This is independence, the concept. Does this have an eraser? I don't think it does. Anyway, atzmaut is independence. And then you have aleph here and ayin there. But if you pronounce the difference, you won't forget how to spell it. The same as with the word, with fingers. Fingers also have an ayin, like an ayin and an aleph that play between them. The word is etzba. Etzba. It doesn't matter, you'll learn it in the future, but of course, anytime that you distinguish between sounds, it's going to help you to remember things and how they're spelled.
Ayin is a little sound deep in the throat then.
Yeah.
Very small sound, okay.
Yeah, but we could just call it silent. Most people will tell you that ayin is silent because it's difficult to pronounce. You have to hear it a lot to understand what it is. Alrighty, next. One more time over the letters. Does somebody want to volunteer to read the names of all of the letters across?
I will. Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Het, Vav, Zayin, Het, Bet, Yod, Kaf, Lam, Mim, Nun, Samek, Ayin, Pe, Sade, Kof, Resh, Sin, Shin, Tav.
Very nice, very nice. How do you pronounce this letter?
Did you ask me how I pronounce it?
Yeah. How was that one for you?
Het.
Okay, so that's got to be really throaty. It's got to be het. Yeah.
Het. Okay.
Yeah, it's like you're trying to pull something out of your throat. My roommate gets up in the morning before he goes to work. Every day he goes and spits stuff out. I don't know why he does it, but he does it every day. But that's the sound you got to make that one and this one. It's cha, chet, chaf. I think the rest of the letters sounded perfect. Just that one sound that's foreign to you, you got to get used to. Who else wants to go?
I'll go.
Great.
Okay, so you have Aleph, Beit, Gimel, Dalet.
It's Hey.
Vav, Zayin, Chet, Samek, Yod, Kaf.
But what right here is Tet.
Oh, yep. Tet, Yod, Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samek, Ayin, Fei, Zat, Kof, Resh, Sin, Shin, Kaf.
Great, fantastic. Next in line, who have we got left?
I think I'm the only one left by the looks of things. So Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zion, Chet. Well, that's my attempt.
No, it's fine.
Tet, Yod, Kaf, Lamed, Moon.
Mem.
Actually, in the Mem, Mem, Nun, Samek, Ayin, Pei, Sade, Kaf, Resh, Shin, Sin, Tav.
Okay. The letter O, anytime you see it in transliteration, is not going to be A. It's always going to be O. So it's not Yod and Kaf, but Yod and Kof.
Oh, okay.
It's a thing of English. I think English is the only language in the world. No, Russian also, where O becomes A. Like it's an odd feature of language that doesn't happen in most languages. If it's written O, you say O. Cool. What do we want to say? This one. Kaf lamed mem nun samech ein. The end sound in this letter is ch, so it's samech. Samech.
So very guttural again.
Yeah, it ends in the letter kaf, so we call it samech instead of samek. This is a major typo, I think, of the textbook that we're using, is that in the first several chapters, it uses kaf that it doesn't underline. So it would make you think that it's melech for king, but it's melech. And samech and not samek. Okay, next. Whiteboard, that's wonderful, great. Let's see what else we have after that. The whiteboard I put up so that we could practice writing. I will free, yes, that's all. So I'll go back to 15 and we will free up you should be able to write on the screen with your mouse. Everybody probably has their own color, or everybody's green except for me. You can choose your color on the side. So let's say Aleph. Aleph looks like this. You can also make your pen thicker on the right if you want. Nice, it's like being in art class in school. Aleph. Once you feel comfortable, you can also just hit the delete button and start again. Aleph. I want you to just practice writing the letters a little bit. This is bet. The delete feature affects only your stuff, so you can mark up and delete as you wish. It won't affect anybody else. Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Chet, Tet. Notice the letter Tet is a little funny. You go up, down, and around. Tet. It's represented in transcription with T and an underline. Tet. Okay. Fantastic. Kaf. Final form of Kaf goes down. Kaf. Lamed is funky, goes down. It's a ascender. It's the only ascender in the Hebrew alphabet. Like if you think about it, it goes down, over, and down. In modern script, there are a couple of other ascenders. There's the letter Lamed goes like this. Then there's that's Fe Sofit, and Sari Sofit goes up. Okay, let's see. Okay, Samech Ayin Pei Tzadi. Ayin, Tzadi, okay, Kuf, what was this one that looked like a P? It looks, Kuf looks like this. It goes over like this and it drops down. That did not look good. My mouse is going sideways. This is the line, essentially. Kuf drops down below the line. Kuf. So this here needs to go out, go straight out and down, and then down this way. So it won't look like a P. That looks like a P. Yes. Yes. Kuf. Very nice. Normally I have a pen to write on my screen, but it's not working today. Oh, there it goes. Look at that. Okay. Let's see. Kuf. Resh. That looks much cleaner. My pen is working.
Is that okay as an M that I just wrote?
What's that?
Is this M that I just wrote okay?
Ah, yes, it's beautiful.
Okay.
Okay. Cursive looks like this. My pen is working, yay! Okay, so what else? So how do you feel about the alphabet? This one needed to come down. It needs this side. Okay? Yeah. So you can do it like this, and then down like here, or you can do it like this. Excellent. That is M. The Mem Sofit looks like a box. If you draw it around this way, if you draw it around, well, now it's not working, is it? Come on, pen. Okay, if you draw it around that way, it looks like Samech. You take the risk of making it like Samech. But if you draw it like this, then it has a very distinct square shape. Okay, all right, so I put together a couple of maps. I didn't put together, I pulled them off the internet. And I want to change over to the maps so we can basically look at the geography of Israel and the nations surrounding it from the Bible. And this way we can also talk about how these would be spelled in Hebrew. Okay, can you see maps?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh. Okay, Scotty just updated that he had to leave early. So I talked to him on Facebook. Okay, so basically the biblical area is here. I'm going to, no sharing, good. I'm going to use red because that makes better sense. This is the nation of Israel. Small little country in the Middle East. That's where what I call home. It's basically surrounded by a lot of Arab countries. Like we've got Egypt, very important in the Bible. Egypt is probably the most important country in the Bible. Jordan was not called Jordan back then. It's called several names. It's Ammon, A-M-M-O-N, Ammon. In Hebrew, it's Ammon. Ammon. It's also was Moab in Hebrew. Up in the top corner, well, why don't we just look at the biblical lands? We understand where Israel is. Yeah, everybody knows Israel.
Yes.
Okay, so the biblical lands and cities. This is Edom. Edom, I think you say Edom, maybe in English. Moab, Ammon, Aram. Aram is what became Syria. Phoenicia, we don't really have that word in biblical Hebrew because Phoenicia, I don't know how we called it. I don't know. Philistia, it's Eretz HaPlishtim. Plishtim is Philistines. We've got Israel in the north and Judah in the south. Israel is Israel, and Judah is Yehuda. Over here we have the Mediterranean Sea. It's called Yam Atichon. Cities in Israel included Yericho, Yerushalayim, Beit Lechem, Hebron, Arad, Beersheba, Lachish. This doesn't exist anymore, of course. Gezer, Beit El, Shiloh, Shomron, Tirza, Shechem, Megiddo, and it goes on further north. Chatzor was really important in identifying some historically archaeological information about where Israel came from. Very interesting. Okay, so this is a map. Obviously, this is the sea. That's the sea. Up here is another sea, the Aegean, with what we used to say Asia Minor up here, but Turkey, we used to call it Asia Minor. I don't know anymore. So Israel is here. We're going to just look at how to write some of the names according to how they sound. Okay? So let's go back to our presentation, the first one, because it's got whiteboard. And we'll think of how to write according to sound. Write for me. M-O-A-B. This is going to be pronounced Moav. Moav. So the beginning of it. The first letter is obviously, yes, Mem. Mem. That's the first letter. The second letter is a vowel. It's long O. Long O is most often written as a vav in Hebrew. So you're going to write a vav. Mo. Okay, now we have the sound that separates between two vowels, which is aleph. Aleph separates between two vowels. Mo, a. The A vowel is not normally written. We're going to learn it later, that it goes on the vowel, and then bet. Moav. Moav is Moab, the country to Israel's east. Of course, you're not required to memorize these. We're just looking at how the letters work. Okay? Anyone who learned Hebrew when Israel was a kingdom and Judah was a kingdom, they learned it without vowels, just like we're looking at it now. Okay, the second one is Israel. We're going to write Yisrael. You can hear the aleph again breaking the two vowels apart. So Y is Yud. The S sound here is Sin. Yes. Look how the sin is. Sin is generally written like this in Hebrew classes, where they teach children to write. That's the easiest way to write it. In cursive, it's written like this. That's how it's written by handwriting in Israel. What this indicates to us is that the shape of the letter goes in this direction. It goes like this and then completes itself in the middle. So that's the proper way to write the letter. So sin is like this and completes down. Okay, so Yis, Ra is Resh, Ra. Then we have that division between the vowels right there. That's Aleph, Yisra, and the vowel on the Aleph is E, Yisra, El. Yisrael is Israel. Yisrael. We're going to learn vowels for these things in the next chapter. We good? Next. Let's say, what's another country around Israel? Edom. Okay, Edom. How do you think you can start a vowel with word with eh?
Aleph or ayin.
Yes. Okay, so in this case, it's like related to the word Adam, man, or dirt, Adama, red, Adom. This is eh. Aleph represents the eh. Z, Dalet. The long O again is Vav. And then Mem Sofit. Edom. Edom is the country Edom. It's to the southeast of Israel. Edom. Edom was the brother of Jacob. His name was also Esav. Esav, what you say in English, Esau. It's funny how you pronounce names in Hebrew names in English. I think it's cute. Like Esav, you pronounce Esau. Esau, which has nothing to do with the Hebrew at all. It's very cute. Esav. It's written, just so you know, Esav. Sav. Sav. I can't hit those vowels, can I? Pink, pink, pink. Esav. That's Jacob's brother. Okay, so the next is Jacob. Let's go with Jacob. In Hebrew, it's Yaakov. Yaakov. Okay, the Ya, you know, is Yod. Here we have a division between the vowels. In this case, it is Ayin. Ya, A. Okay, Ya, A. Kuf is the K. And then in this name, the long vowel is not written. It's Yaakov, like this. Yaakov. This is Jacob. Yaakov. In Greek, he's called Jakobos. I assume you guys know Greek. Yaakobos.
Yes.
Jakobos. It's directly taken from Hebrew. Some even write it just as Jacob without the os. Okay. Where shall we go? Abraham. His name first was Avram. Abram. Okay, Avram. And then they added a new syllable into it, the ha syllable, and it became Avraham, according to his covenant with God in the Bible. So Avraham. Okay. To add one name, Zion. Zion is another name for Jerusalem. Zion in Hebrew is Sion. Sadi. Yud. Vav. Nun. That's a nice fun form because it goes down like this with the three Yod, Vav, Nun. Sion. That's a nice one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. To write it in modern form, it would look like this. Sion. Yeah, that's a fun form. Okay, so I hope that we've covered enough of the alphabet. I wanted to take a minute to go over books before we finish up. So for that, I'm going to turn off the presentation. Like I don't need the presentation. I want to minimize it, if you could, so that I can show my camera. Let's allow. Okay. Do you see me? Am I coming through? Do I look really bad?
No. Oh, it's starting. There you are.
There you are.
All right. So, of course, you already have the textbooks, which is wonderful, beautiful. This course that we're doing is going to cover 17 chapters of the book. That's up to about the midpoint. 17 chapters covers basically the present tense, not the kal of the various verb types. It's going to cover the kal. I think, does it get us into the future? Let's see. I broke it up so that we could, yes, it gets into the future. So it's going to give us the basic verb patterns for the past, future, and the narrative. Also imperatives, and it's going to cover basically all of the paradigm of the called verb. The next course will begin in chapter 18 and cover all the rest of grammar. you won't finish enough. You won't know enough Hebrew to read the Bible by finishing this initial course. But the whole book itself covers all basic grammar that you need. So that's good. So these books are wonderful. We will go over more of the workbook as we go along, because the workbook in this chapter wasn't really substantial. When we finish this course, you'll have a basic ability to read the Hebrew Bible, and you're going to really learn it because of reading from the workbook. The workbook has a lot of reading. But after this course finishes, I want to go into a second course on Hebrew discourse with anybody who finishes and wants to go ahead, because this is a powerhouse. This book is amazing. I just got this recently. I don't know if you know that. It deals with discourse analysis of the Hebrew Bible. Brilliant text. But of course, it's not required for this course. You don't need to worry about it. You do need to have some kind of Bible. This is the BHS. It's the Standard Academic Bible. I really like this one called Keter Yerushalayim. It's the Jerusalem Crown. Beautiful Bible. Put out by the Hebrew University in Jerusalem. It's supposed to imitate the feel of the Aleppo Codex. Beautiful. So you need to have a Bible of some kind. If you don't, you can also use an electronic version that's online. If you need a link, let me know. It's a good idea to have some kind of lexicon, some kind of dictionary. And this is cheap, and it covers all of the vocabulary in the Hebrew Bible. And it's small, concise, you can carry it with you.
Who's the author?
Holiday. William Holiday. Definitely a good thing to have. When I was in college, my Hebrew professor had this on his desk all the time, and I never bought it until I had already been teaching Hebrew myself, and I said, wow, that's a really useful book to have. So if you want a lexicon, that's a good way to go. It is a good idea to have one, because eventually you're going to get to a point where you're going to have to look up words and say, wow, what is this one? Oh, there it is in the book. Okay, what else about books? I think that's it. So basically, again, we're going to cover the most basic of verbs in this course. We will cover all noun forms, all suffixes for possession, the call verb, and then in the next course, we're going to complete the verb system. I just wanted to let you guys know, like, the direction. This set of books, I think, is the most amazing text I've seen for introduction to biblical Hebrew, because of the graded reader. Because immediately from chapter 4, we're going to be memorizing vocabulary and beginning to read. And once you get to read, that's where all of the learning really happens. So I'm looking forward to this, and I hope that you guys are too. And of course, if you have any questions, we've got the Moodle. Do you know how to use the Moodle? That's a good question. Let's pass that around. Giovanni, how do you feel about using the Moodle with assignments, with forum questions and such?
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy to navigate. I don't feel any challenges clicking on the link.
Okay, great. I basically put checklists for each chapter. So you just go through and like finish the activity and hit the checklist or the check mark, you know. So I try to make it simple. I'm glad that you find it easy. John, what do you think? John, are you there? My camera just kicked off. Did I lose anybody? John, you there?
There was a pause.
Ah, okay. Sorry. John, could you let us know what you think of the Moodle? Do you find it useful, easy to navigate?
Yeah, I'd had a look at it probably a few weeks ago now, and my recollection is it looked pretty straightforward.
Okay, fantastic. Have you tried to do any of the activities?
Yes, either this, I can't remember, this morning or yesterday, I went through one of the quizzes.
Ah, excellent. Excellent. Ward, have you had a chance to look through it?
Yeah, I've done some of the activities and some of the quizzes, and so far it seems pretty straightforward.
Okay, all right, good. If you guys find any mistakes or problems or bugs, please let me know. It's my first time using a Moodle too. So, we used them in college, but I never set one up. So this is a new path for me. Okay, so if you do you have any questions before we close off? It's already been an hour and 10 minutes. I would say normally we should go about an hour and a half because we're going to have reading practice. We've got to get into the book to read together. But I was thinking maybe an hour and 15 today.
Yeah, not so far for me right now. I think I'll just have to go back and practice writing also. And I just noticed that I'm still confused with few of the letters.
Okay.
That are looking like the same, like head and stomach. I think that was my.
Which ones again?
Head and stomach.
Tet. Okay, so tet is going to come up like this. Can you see the presentation now, the whiteboard?
Yep.
Okay, so that's tet, and samech is going to come over and around like this. It's if you think of Greek, where you've got the sigma. Okay, sigma. Imagine that you flip it around, and then you have samech.
Okay.
Okay? Does that make it easier to remember?
Yep.
So when you've got your samech, in modern Hebrew it doesn't have even anything, it's just a circle. Tet is going to come up and around, and that's a T sound.
Okay. I think that helps.
So modern Hebrew, the samech, like our printed handwriting, the samech is just a circle, and tet is like this. It goes wild with itself. So if the name Steve, like if I'm writing Steve, the person's name, I'm going to write Steve. This is samech, tet, yod, bet. Yeah, bet is funny. Instead of going like this, bet goes like this. Yeah. I'm used to writing in cursive, so sometimes when I'm writing like mishpat, I can remember to write mem, shin, and then when I get to pay, I write backwards like this. So pay, I will often write upside down, because this is how we write it in modern Hebrew. But it should be like the other way around. So if you see me write it like this, it's just out of habit. It's a mistake. It's not a mistake, but it's not how you're supposed to write it for biblical Hebrew. Okay, any other letters that give you trouble? Anyone? Sadi. This one I remember as like this is, I'm going to write with a different color so you can see. So this is like somebody's knees. That's his knees. This is his hands up in prayer, and his head would be up here. So this is, it's Sadi, which is related to the word Sadiq. Sadiq means righteous person. Sadiq. Sadiq is righteous person. A righteous person spends his time in prayer. And so the tzadi looks like a person in prayer. And the final tzadi is like this. Notice that ayin looks a lot similar to it. Ayin comes down and over and has a piece inside. Okay, so these are letters that look similar. The more you read, the more you will recognize the forms, of course, you know. So right now, just learning the alphabet, it's like trying to drill it and make it rote memory. But once you get to a point where you're reading words, like if I give you the word davar, and you read it, you're not going to confuse the shapes once you get used to the word davar. Davar. And that's yeah.
Would it be right to pronounce this davar?
Davar means word or thing.
Right. I mean, but davar, is that a correct pronunciation?
Yeah. I mean, the R on the end is not really ra, but most Americans pronounce it that way anyway. Most Americans will read it davar. Even Americans who have lived in Israel for 30 years, they'll still say davar. Davar.
And how would you say?
The R on the end is not ra, but ra. Ra. So it's davar. Davar. Yeah. Davar. Can you hear the difference?
I can, but I can't hear the R.
So most of the time it sounds like it's dropped off at the end of a word. It's not dropped off, it is there, but you have a hard time hearing it. You'll get used to it. It's, I find it funny, like I used to, my website, the Hebrew Cafe, began with the name jhronline.com. JHR meant Joplin Hebrew Reading because I lived in Joplin, Missouri, and I was trying to promote the reading of Hebrew. I would have people at my house week after week, and we would just go through the alphabet every week, drilling the alphabet. It was such a tedious job. I would try to teach Hebrew courses that would take like 2 months of people learning the alphabet, because they get into this mindset that the alphabet is difficult. But it really isn't. It really isn't. You just need to take the time to sit down with it and write it again and again and again and try to pronounce it, you know? Once you do that and you make it just a job that you have to do before you can move on, it becomes easier. And I think that you guys have the hang of it. So I think you've done pretty well today, like really well. I was expecting to have to work harder with the alphabet, but I think you've mostly got it. Once we get to vowels next week, I'm going to send out some simplification, like a simplified explanation that will try to complement what's in the book, because what's in the book might be a little bit difficult with the vowels. But I'm going to try to simplify it in a way that I tend to teach the vowels. It's weird. I sat down with somebody recently and I taught him the vowels before I taught him the letters, because I think that if once you have the vowels, it makes more sense what you do with the letters, you know? Mm-hmm. So if I tell you that this is a long A, and this is a short A, and this is a reduced A, all of these, I'm trying to write this, it's not going through. Okay. So all of these represent one is long, one is short, and one is reduced. What you notice is that they have something in common. They all have this line. Okay? So anytime you see this horizontal line, you're going to read You see what I mean?
Yeah.
If I tell you that this is and this is and this is okay? What you see is what it has in common. That is, you see that it has these two dots. This one and this one. This one and this one. This one and this one. And then you see another commonality. You see that this one has two dots beside it, and this one has two dots beside it. This is here, and this is here. So you start to see commonalities among the vowels. All of these are All of these are So once you've got these vowels, then I can give you the letters and I can tell you mem with this is meh. Meh. M, like a mem with this, is ah. Ma. Ma, meh. So then you see that the vowels hang on the letters. These are vowels and they hang on the letters. So I think that it's probably a good idea to start with vowels and then add the letters so you can see how the vowels work. But most teaching grammars do it the opposite way. Anyway, I think I probably pushed as far as we need to go today. For next week, of course, read chapter 2, do chapter 2 in the workbook. This means pages 9 through 12 in the workbook. This is going to get into the various vowels that exist in Hebrew. Okay? Are we good?
Okay.
What do you guys think? Any feedback?
No, I'm sure that once we get past the consonants, there'll be a lot more questions.
Of course, you should feel free to send questions on the interactive forum on the Moodle. And if you need direct assistance, you've got my email. And I can be reached most directly through Facebook Messenger if you need to send a message directly. Okay?
Okay.
And I'm open to whatever. If I'm asleep, I won't answer. If I'm at work, I might answer. But I try to get back to you as quick as I can. All right, so we'll meet up again next week, same time. I've already got my schedule for next week, and I got the day off. So.
Excellent. Thank you.
My pleasure, guys. It was nice sitting with you. I'm gonna try to upload this to YouTube, and I hope it recorded and that everything's good.
Great.
Okay, see you next week.
See you next week. We say lehitraot. This is how you say goodbye. I'll give you this word. Hold on. Well, if it's going to let me write. It's not going to let me write. Lehitraot. Okay, we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Lehitraot.
Lehitraot.